The following episode may and most likely does contain spoilers, foul language, and instructions on how to see John Cena. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Two Dicks Exposed. I am not Mike.
And I am not Pat.
And today we are going to talk about something we have no idea what to talk about.
No.
It doesn't make sense, but
we gotta discuss it eventually, I guess.
It has to get there eventually. So what we are talking about today is the wonderful world of movies.
Yes.
Animated movies, mostly.
There are... It's weird how, like... I know so many people who got, like, their, like, start on anime movies. Like, with anime, like that's all they could watch was, like, anime movies, like, you know, take your pick. Like, there's a bunch of, like, old 90s, 80s, like, 80s ones.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one, like, with a submarine and something like that, and, like, that was all they ever watched, but they didn't watch, like, any anime.
Oh, you're obviously talking about the Beatles music video, Yellow Submarine.
No, it's...
one of the original animated shorts.
I only remember, like, this one sequence where, like, the sub, like comes up and, like, it shoots out a bunch of missiles. And like that's all I remember.
That's what subs be doing.
That's subs be doing. So really, I mean, yeah, anime movies, man.
Anime movies.
Anime movies.
Oh god. And then I think the one anime movie that everyone has seen, even if you don't love anime, which we're not going to talk about in this episode at all.
I know exactly where you're going.
But Pokemon, the first movie.
Yes, we had a discussion about this in our very first episode.
We did. And it's like, that's one of those movies that, like, even everyone's parents saw, because the kids were like, I need to go see this movie and collect all the cards.
God, all right,
but
we'll take you.
Yeah, but besides Pokemon, though, the other movies that everyone has seen was a fabulous little studio that you hated.
I do not like them.
Yeah, Studio Ghibli.
I do not.
I mean, but Ghibli and anime go together like, you know, Frank and Beans. Like, they are just...
It is sad that, like, you cannot talk about anime and anime in general without bringing up Studio Ghibli. I mean, you know, like, there are plenty of people out there that are just non-anime nerds whatsoever. Like,
right.
They don't... My sister, for crying out loud, is one of them people. Like, she's trying to, like, watch some because my nephew is, like, really into anime now. Mm-hmm. And she wants to, like, you know, stay relevant with her child.
Right.
But even she's like, oh yeah, I like Howl's Moving Castle or whatever. Mm. Is that what it's called? Howl's Moving Castle?
Howl's Moving Castle,
right,
yes.
check
that is a movie.
All right.
Howl's Moving Castle in the Sky. You know, we'll just fuse them all.
Take every single one. So Princess Castle, Totoro's Grave Delivering Spirits, Moving the Witch, Ponyo.
That was like the most impressive stroke I've ever seen anyone have.
I was trying to like piece it so it would work, but it didn't work.
It didn't work.
No.
All right. If you would like to tell us in the comments a better combination of all of those movies,
yeah.
I would love to see what it is.
Right.
My Neighbor, Princess Mononoke.
I just like it's not that I don't like the movies in general.
Is it just like that they're overrated?
They're overrated. Like,
okay.
For one, like I recently just watched Ponyo with the girls and they loved it, and I'm just like, what's the point of this movie? Mm-hmm. Like, it's just a kid crying and whining about his goldfish, and then like the whole town gets flooded, and then it's not flooded and happy ending. I'm just like, this is dumb. This is the dumbest thing I've watched.
God.
Like,
that reminds me of that new Disney movie that just came out, where they're like mermen and they come on land and they become kids and they get in a bike race or something like that.
Is that like a Disney Channel exclusive Disney movie?
No, to the audience.
Studio audience, figure this out.
Luca. Yeah, it's like a whole bunch of like mermen and mermaids. And
is that the one that went straight to Disney Plus?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, but I mean that was the same thing. It was just kind of like they come up there, they cry, they race on bikes, and then
yeah. I mean, like I will give Studio Ghibli or however it's pronounced.
Giblets.
Is it
yes.
Giblets? All right. I will give Studio Giblets its credit. It is one of the most beautiful animations I've ever seen out there. Not because there are definitely anime studios that have like way better animation in my opinion. But like, you can't look at like scenes from Ponyo, for example, which I think is dumb. I've watched that movie twice and I still think it's dumb. Like, there are moments in that movie where I'm like, oh, this is actually visually beautiful. I respect it, but the story is just blah.
Blah.
We're probably gonna.
You know what I just kind of like clicked in my head as you were saying what Ponyo's about? I've seen so many animes about where Japan just gets flooded.
Yeah.
Like, are they constantly worried about just being like flooded?
I mean, they do get hit with a lot of tsunamis.
I
maybe
get
that is like an actual
like huge fear over there.
Like just being completely.
I wonder if they have a lot of live action movies too, where it's like, the year is 2050 and Japan is now underwater.
God, here in America we had like a bunch of them, like the disaster movies.
Yeah, and then 2012 and Moonfall. 2020.
We just had one recently, Moonfall. The moon came out of the orbit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's the one that DiCaprio put out, I think last year, about
Titanic.
Yeah, Titanic 4, Electric Boogaloo.
The Titanicing.
Rose's Revenge.
Rated R. So wait, DiCaprio put out a movie?
Yeah, it was Don't Look Up or something like that.
Oh.
It was the one about like a meteor coming down and blowing up the Earth. And he's like a scientist. They discovered it, and they're like, we have 9 months to destroy this meteor, or else the Earth is going to die. And the government's like, you're lying to us, and we're just going to cover this up.
Because a tangent here, we tend to do this. What is up with Hollywood and making pretty boys scientists? They did that with the Incredible Hulk movie when they had Edward Norton be Bruce Banner, and it's like, this chiseled Adonis of a man cannot be the smartest. What was it? I think radioactive.
This is not a
scientist.
guy who spends 18 to 20 hours a day in a lab.
No.
Right.
That dude spends 18 to 20 hours at the gym.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah,
Ruffalo though, I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
Just, like Ruffalo kind of looks like he has the type of body where it's like just Cheetos and
like
iced tea or something like that.
Completely subsiding off of like Red Bull energy drinks and like I don't know, Cheez-Its.
Oh.
I was trying to think Cheese Puffs.
Cheese Puffs.
There we go.
Oh, that sounds like a great diet, though.
That does. I could actually go. I mean, I have some Red Bull.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
it metaphorically gives you wings.
It does. But anyways, there's other movies besides Studio Ghibli that I think like are worth mentioning outside of like just, I'm looking at this list here and I will go over I'll go over some of them, right? Princess Mononoke was back on Studio Ghibli.
That was the
very first one I ever saw.
The first Ghibli movie I saw.
Really?
Yeah.
Same.
So, I don't know. It does hold a special place in my heart, but I don't think I've seen it since like 1999.
I think like it was back when like Sci-Fi used to have like anime movie like midnight or something like that. Like on Fridays it'd have like an anime movie.
Okay.
And I remember like flipping through and like that was on and I was just like the very first sequence where he's running from like that sludge monster boar thing.
Yeah.
And like I was like, what is this? Right? Like I'd already been indoctrinated by like Dragon Ball Z at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, what is this? And like you see, I can't remember the main character's name. Asuka? No, that's not right.
I don't know.
Some guy.
We'll stick with the same thing and just call him, Joey
Wheeler. Yeah, Joey Wheeler was running away from that sludge monster. I thought that was awesome, right? Like,
and you do bring up a good point because a lot of time, like back in the late '90s, pretty much if you were an anime nerd, all you had was like Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, early Gundam.
You had the series, like you had.
I keep forgetting.
Toonami ran like a bunch of gold ones. Like, you had Ronin Warriors. You had Gundam Wing, G Gundam, Tenchi Muyo,
Pokemon, Digimon, Dragon Ball Z.
All that, right?
So, if you're looking at Mononoke and you compare it to what was being pumped out weekly, the animation was beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic.
And they had a special power. They were able to make everything look so fluffy and comfortable.
Yes. That is the one thing I like about Studio Ghibli's art is the fact that, like, especially food.
Yeah.
Food and anything Ghibli, I'm just like, can I eat that? Can I eat that, please?
Ooh, you know what, though? We cannot skip over the best animated food ever, which is the slice of pizza in a Goofy movie.
Oh, my God, yes. All right, we're talking about... that is, like, the greatest string pull with cheese pizza I've ever seen.
My pants just got tighter thinking about that scene.
God. I still love a Goofy movie.
We watched it.
That's the best animated
maybe like 5 months ago. It was solid. It was
so
solid.
Good. But yeah, Princess Mononoke was Yeah, my very first one. You know, it's funny because back in the early '90s, like I said, you know, like we were saying, all those shows they only came on WB morning. That's when you got watch Pokemon and Digimon.
Yep. Well, Digimon was on Fox.
Was Digimon Fox?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you had to switch between.
You had to switch between the two.
I do remember that.
And for like a small period, they
were
overlapped
at the same time.
And that pissed me off. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm gonna watch Digimon and then flip back to the WB and watch Yu-Gi-Oh.
Right. It made it easier if like they were like it was like a rerun. It was like, oh, this is an episode of Pokemon I've already seen. Well, I'll just watch Digimon instead. That was like the best sequencing you got. But outside of that, your other experiences with anime, unless you had a friend who, like, you know, mom or dad picked up like VHSs and stuff like that, was like every now and then, like, you know, Sci-Fi Channel and other channels would run like random like 80s and 90s anime movies. That's how I got introduced to Princess Mononoke. The sub one that I was talking about, and there was like another one with planes, and I know they were two different ones because visually I can see them as two different art styles.
Yeah,
but
I could not Flyboy or something like that.
Maybe,
I don't know.
Yeah. Ooh, also, one that always sticks in my head like forever. It's this one about like I don't remember much about the movie, but like the sequences, like they're fighting like this. They're in like a saloon bar, and there's like this like robot cyborg dude, and he's like trying to start this crap with like this like space pirate captain. It might be Space Pirate Yamamoto. That might be it. Or no, I think it's Galaxy or Railway 666 or something like that.
Are you sure it's not Treasure Planet?
No, it's not Treasure Planet.
You sure?
It's not Treasure Planet.
All right.
Yeah, and he like pops a seal on this like thing of milk because he ordered milk, and the guy at the bar was like, oh, "How dare you order milk at the bar?" And he like pops the seal on it, and like forces the dude to like chug the whole bottle, and he was like, "This is for you." And that sequence has always been stuck in my head. I think
interesting.
It might be Galaxy Railway 666.
I've never even heard of that.
Galaxy Express 999.
Yeah, there you go.
Man, you were so close.
Metal Kid right there, baby. Yeah, Galaxy Express 999. I think it's that one because it's got like the long, beautiful blonde hair girl that looks like the chick from the Daft Punk anime cartoons.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
There's another movie too, and I only watched it once, and it didn't really hold my attention, but I thought the animation was so like wild and beautiful. And it was Redline, the racing movie.
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
It's like the most like I don't know, crazy. You know, everyone has like pompadours and shit like that, and like extremely exaggerated like body parts and all that stuff. And it's just about like muscle cars and racing, and it's like futuristic, past-esque.
Gotcha.
That doesn't make sense what I said,
right.
But then you'll watch it and you'll be like, "Oh, I know what you're saying."
It is a weird thing. Like sometimes, like when you think of like phrases to explain something, and you're like you say it out loud to someone who doesn't watch anime, and then like they go and they watch and they're like, "That makes perfect sense what he just said."
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry for calling you stupid. I definitely I get it now.
I get it now.
I get it. Like someone's gonna go watch Goofy movie for the first time and be like, "There's no way I want to eat that pizza," and then they're gonna be licking the screen. Like,
I love that scene, dude.
It's such a good scene.
I mean, like if we're talking about like movies outside of Studio Ghibli, because I could rail on Hayao Miyazaki for hours because I don't.
Well, first wish him happy birthday.
Oh yeah, happy birthday, wrong Miyazaki. Because Hidetaka Miyazaki is the creator of Bloodborne, Dark Souls, and Sekiro and Elden Ring.
Okay.
So like whenever I talk about Miyazaki, I'm like, "Oh, dude, I love Miyazaki," and people are like, "Oh, I didn't know you like Ghibli," and I'm like, no, you're talking about the wrong Miyazaki. Hidetaka Miyazaki is the best Miyazaki."
And for those avid fans out there, he told us the same exact story 2 episodes ago.
Yep. I stand by, man. If you're following along with our lore, I stand by my decisions. But yeah, I guess happy birthday to a guy who, I don't know, thinks he made anime. He has that like that infamous quote, like "anime is a mistake," and I'm like, dude, but you didn't even create it, so like, shut up. Like, anyways, I guess we can't we gotta address like the elephant in the room when it comes to anime movies. We gotta talk about Akira.
Yeah,
I know everybody has been waiting for that name to be brought up in this episode.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we brought it up now. Let's just
brought it up. That's it. That's it.
Not even talk
That's
about
it. We're done. Akira happened.
It happened. It was a movie. You know.
There you go. Yeah.
I tried to watch it. I had to turn it off. I got so bored. I'm not gonna lie.
It honestly, it is. I get it, but I didn't watch Akira when like it was like the thing to watch, like in the early 2000s, late 90s, right? Like we have friends who are obsessed with that movie because they watched it when they were kids. I didn't watch it until I was like in like my late 20s for the very first time.
I watched it last year for the first time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like
so-
after watching so many other things, you're like, oh, I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, but it's the same for me with Cowboy Bebop. I didn't watch Cowboy Bebop until like I was in my 30s, so it didn't have that nostalgia feel to me that like everyone talks about, like how great it is, and I'm like, it's good. It's got like I love the art and I love the anime and I love the music, but like, it's not like the.
But there's
greatest.
so much better out there
Yeah,
now.
like because we've been indoctrinated to all the other good stuff that's out there. So like when you compare like the early '90s stuff to like something now, it's just
Right.
like, I get it if you watch it.
It's
when
like
you
trying
didn't
to
have
tell
choices.
someone like Cinderella is better than, you know, Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
you know, maybe 40 years ago.
Yeah,
But,
when it was like a groundbreaking thing, but not now.
right.
I love Your Name.
Oh, thanks. It's not Mike.
That's not Mike. Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen that one. I've heard it makes you cry.
It does and does not. So the guy who makes it, I cannot remember his name off the top of my head. Probably I should do some research on this, because if we're going to talk about, if our studio audience would do me the favor of telling me this, the guy who makes Your Name is probably the better anime movie director. He has so many good hits out there, but Your Name is the only one that like I like talking about, because like it doesn't have.
I think it was
the same-
Mako Tsunami.
Is it Mako Tsunami?
I'm pretty sure it was
Makoto Shinkai.
Makoto Shinkai. Has it?
Makoto Shinkai.
Shinkai. Makoto Shinkai. Yes. He is way better than Hayao Miyazaki, because his stories actually like have a plot that like makes sense and actually matters. Your Name is great. Yeah, I know one of them is like sitting over here, like one of our studio audience is about to like look up some stuff to like come at me, because I've been attacking Studio Ghibli this
I
entire time.
cannot wait. I will literally leave my chair to let them sit here.
Right.
Just to, like, ravage you for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I but
Stand by what I said.
you want to say something? Well, what is it? What is it?
So, one of your issues with Miyazaki's movies was that the plot of Ponyo was that everything gets flooded and then nothing happens. Everything's not flooded anymore.
That's kind of it. It boils down.
Yeah. That's the exact plot of Weathering with You.
Yeah, but that was a good movie.
That was a good. Yeah, your logic makes no sense. That was just a good movie.
Get out of here.
Get out of here! Oh, boo!
That fake news. We don't like you. You're not invited back.
Your Name is fantastic. You watched Weathering with You.
I did watch Weathering with You.
You
I
like-
saw that in theaters, and it was worth it.
You love all that art, right?
Oh, it was gorgeous, dude.
Your Name.
Okay.
Yeah,
No,
it's
Your Name I
same-
definitely want to
yeah.
see, because like everyone, if you talk about Your Name, there's nothing bad I've heard.
No,
so it's like
fantastic.
on my list. But it's
Is
when
Makoto Shinkai, is he the one who's making that movie where you watched the two?
he might be,
Maybe.
but
I don't know.
I don't know, like kind of. So like my life, I grew up on anime nerds
Right.
stuff, all that. I was super into like comic books, super into video games, everything like
Right.
that. College happened, worked full time, trying to get back into anime now, but I realized I have about 10, 15 years
Right.
of just stuff to catch up on.
Yeah, there's so much out
So like I spent a lot of time just trying to catch up on all these animes that I've watched. So like I still haven't watched Yu Yu Hakusho, still haven't watched Cowboy Bebop all the way through. You know, I'm trying to stay current with the newer ones. So like I've watched Demon Slayer, I've watched
Right.
Bleach, I've watched Mob Psycho, you know, all that stuff. And last year I tried to get into the movies, because I guess it was like 4 years ago we saw
Right.
Weathering with You in theaters, and I was like, man, I need to watch everything else now, because
Right.
like this was just so beautiful, and it was only an hour and a half as opposed to, you know, 30 hours of my life. So I was like, I can pound these out. And I hope that gets spliced with, I'm just going to let them ravage you. Just going to let them ravage you and pound it out.
Stop saying ravage, man.
Maybe.
Ravage is my word of the day.
Ah!
Hey, sparkle, sparkle.
Ravage.
But that was short lived. So like, you know, I tried watching some Ghibli, and you know, I watched Totoro, fell asleep. I watched Howl's Moving Castle, fell asleep. I watched Spirited Away. That actually kept my attention. I did
like
finish
Spirited
Spirited Away. Mononoke, I haven't watched that again in like 15 years. But then, like, I watched what is it? The new one on Netflix, Bubble, because it kind
I
of
think
had
we were
like the
talking
same
about
animation look that like Weathering with You
Yeah.
did, and it's another thing where Japan is just flooded, but it's like if the Little Mermaid met parkour, so
Right.
which is funny because they don't have legs, but that's what it is, like mermaids, not
Right.
unless it's like opposite mermaids where they have human legs and just
I
fish
would
head.
watch that.
Dude, just running on the sides of buildings and hopping
Yes.
over stuff. I would watch the shit out of that.
Give me that movie.
But yeah, I watched that. The storyline was horrible. Like
The animation looks gorgeous,
the
though.
animation was gorgeous,
Right.
but the storyline was just not there.
Netflix seems to have that where there are so many animes on there right now where like it looks good. Like I've scrolled through and like see, like the trailer, like it'll play like a little bit of it. I'm like, oh, okay, this looks pretty good. But then like I'll start watching it and like I'm like the premise and the animation looks good, and I watch like episode 1 and I'm just like
Knocked out.
knocked out. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is this?
I saw this thing on Instagram the other day, and it was like, top 10 animes you need to watch because they're so like beautifully animated.
Right.
And number 1 was Violet Evergarden.
I've heard nothing but good things about that because I love the studio that does that.
It was like I sat down and started watching at like 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
I was maybe asleep by 7:10.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just. I'm sure it picks up or something like that, but
I mean, it's
It's
another
just-
Saber clone. Saber from Fate.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
She literally is just a clone of Saber from Fate. There's so many animes where they reuse that blonde character
It's the
image.
same studio.
No.
Oh, okay.
The studio that was not Weathering with You. You just said it. Violet Evergarden is it's gonna kill me because I love that studio. They're the one that had the arson attack.
Oh shit.
I got you stop tapping the table. I do that all the time.
It's okay. It gives us something to do while our studio audience producers
Produces it,
are supposed
right.
to be feeding us information.
Right? Yeah. What's the point?
What's the point in even having them there?
Kyoto Animation?
It is Kyoto Animation.
Kyoto Animation.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you figured that out before they could.
I did. I didn't need any help whatsoever. I love Kyoto Animations. They just came out with another anime finally after their arson attack, which was the second season of Kobayashi Maid Dragon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I need
Is
more
that worth
of that.
watching?
Yeah, it's fun.
Is it funny?
It's a funny one.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see like clips of it, and then
Yeah.
like I've tried to sit down and just watch it. And I'm just like, this is nothing like
If you
this.
just want some feel good, like I feel good and I'm laughing at these stupid like dumb things, it's worth it.
Is that like more slice of life fantasy or like battle?
Slice of life fantasy.
Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause I've seen like some sick battle fight or some fights.
There is a
in there.
ridiculously epic like dragon fight sequence in like season 2. Which
Okay.
I'm just like, why did Kyoto Animations have to go this hard for this slice of life anime? Another anime movie that I want to bring up is A Silent Voice.
Top tier
Top tier.
anime.
It is. So you saw that one, right?
I did
Yes.
see that one, and I'm so happy I saw that because
It for me it was an instance where rarely it's starting to happen more now that I've like because of you I've been getting more into manga, but that was an instance where I actually read the manga before I watched the movie.
okay,
So like it was like again it has it has a shoujo tag, it has a romance tag on it, so it was like one of those like things I was like, oh, okay, a deaf girl and the boy that used to bully her, okay, like this sounds like a good manga, like let me read this. And I did, and I cried my eyes out reading it. Like, I actually read all of it one night before I had to go to work. It's my old job where I had to be up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. So
Okay.
I literally read
you
it
just
all.
show up,
I
show up with puffy eyes, and your
Yeah.
boss is like, "What's wrong?" You're like, "I hate working here.
It's so sad.
It's so sad waking
But-
up this early."
I will say that, like, if you don't want to cry, then the movie does a great job. The movie does do a great job.
I did tear up
Yeah.
for the movie. I will admit that.
Okay.
I will admit that.
It is beautiful. Also, the creator of Your Lie in April, Your Lie in April. A Silent Voice is the guy that is or girl who is creating To Your Eternity,
Okay.
the anime that's going on right now, which is supposedly like also really sad. Like, does the dude just make sad stuff?
Maybe. And you know what's funny? If you watch like interviews with him, he's probably the happiest guy in the world.
Probably. I mean,
Yeah.
that's Junji Ito. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Super happy guy and
Yes.
just darkest stuff putting out there.
Roll it back to Studio Ghibli. cutest stuff in the world, super fluffy, and I love all so cute and adorable. Hates life, hates himself. Like the dude is like super self-deprecating.
I guess it's just one of those things where it's like, as an artist, you want to create a world that you don't live in. So,
Right.
you just create the opposite of whatever you're used to, because that's fantasy to you, I guess.
Right.
It's the deepest thing you'll ever hear me say.
I want to circle back on this before I forget. But A Silent Voice, actually, if I'm not mistaken, actually won like a studio like awards or something like that from like the Japanese ASL foundation.
Oh, really?
Like their sign language, yeah, because of like how well they interpreted her being deaf in the actual I think they like use actual like sign language gestures like.
Yeah, I remember there was a scene where he was like in the hospital talking to another deaf patient, and they actually like did a long drawn out animated scene of him just using sign language.
Yeah.
And everything. But they also, mentioned how like while he does sign language, he's also speaking, because depending on like some kids haven't learned sign language yet, but they can read lips very well.
Yeah.
Or, they have partial hearing, and that combined with reading lips. And
Yeah.
So
it does such a good job, because I actually have an uncle who's deaf.
okay.
And he actually saw that movie, and he also was like, blown away by it. He was like, "Oh wow, this is actually really good." And I'm just like, "That's awesome!" Like, to have like a outside,
Is sign language a universal language?
No,
No.
it's not?
Okay.
The
About to
sign
say, I
language
think
they're
so.
using in that movie is Japanese sign language.
So JSL.
It's actually kind of funny because some of the words that they're using in Japanese sign language are curse words in American sign language.
Oh really?
Wow.
I'll have to ask my uncle that. Yeah.
So your uncle's watching that movie and just getting offended.
You're right.
This nice sweet guy is just like, "Fuck you, old man." And he's like,
also
"What?"
he's also like dual or trilingual or something like that. He's like a very smart dude. Like,
Man.
yeah.
You sure he's related to you?
He actually is. Yeah, surprisingly. The worst part is he's not even related to me on the side of my side of the family where like you wouldn't even bat an eye at. Like my dad's side of the family, like that's where all of our smart family members are. My mom's side of the family, they're all dumb as a box of rocks. Like, the dumbest mongoloid people you'll ever meet in your life. That's my mom's side of the family. And
I guess all their intelligence just went into
went to him.
This one uncle.
Yeah, and he's like he's he used to work for NASA. He's like an aeronautic engineer and stuff like that. Like, yeah. And
What?
that's from my mom's side of the family. But yeah,
He's doing calculations on how to make rockets fly, and your aunt is sitting there with two rocks, sparking them together.
I remember like back in like 2010, he when like they were first like making drones for the U.S. Like the U.S. government, like the U.S. Marine Army or whatever. They were failing and crashing, and the only part that was not at fault was like the whatever gear part that he had created. Like, and all the failed, it was like, wow, that's awesome, right? Like,
So he's just like rolling into the lab, just eating a hot dog. He's like, "Man,
yeah,
at least I knew what I was doing."
right. But yeah, he liked your A Silent Voice. Yeah, that was like kind of like a nice like, oh wow, that's dope.
Yeah, and I mean, I would recommend A Silent Voice to anyone that's like if you've never watched anime before, but you love like sad movies in general.
Yeah. Another sad movie that's also happy but sad. Have you watched Wolf Children?
No, I watched Teen Wolf.
There's a scene in that movie where there's a dude jerking off in the stands.
All right then. This conversation took a 180 in like 4 seconds.
There are my two favorite like 80s movie things, like knowledge things, is in Teen Wolf. There is a guy jerking off in the stands. I don't remember at what point in the movie.
Did he complete?
I don't think he did, but it's very.
Okay.
You see him like playing with himself, and I think it was the babysitter movie, the Hulk Hogan babysitter movie. I forget what it's called.
Titanic.
Yeah, Titanic. There's
Yeah.
a scene where he's driving down the boulevard, and as he's driving, you see a guy in the background taking his dog and throwing it in the river.
Wait, no, that's
He
that's
does-
horrible.
That is the thing, dude. I'm
You
telling
know how I feel about animal cruelty, Mike.
Well, yeah. That's
So
like-
bad that I called you by your wrong name.
Oh yeah, broke you out of your thing.
Ugh.
I think our studio audience had something to say. No.
I got nothing to say.
No.
No,
You
I was
guys
just
wanna
trying
also-
to research that and went, oh, I don't know what I expected when I searched Teen Wolf masturbation scene.
Did you add R? You have to add R34 so Google knows what you're looking for. That's the only way.
Oh,
But no, dude, Wolf Children's fantastic. It might, again, I'm probably 100% wrong on that, but then again, that's our podcast.
yeah.
I think that's another Makoto Shinkai movie is Wolf Children. It's pretty much about a girl, a mom, a girl at the beginning of the movie. She finds this guy, falls in love with him, and he's like not a werewolf. He turns into like a wolf, and they have children together. Something sad happens, and she's left to raise the two children by herself. The one is like very rambunctious when she's a kid, but she grows up and becomes like very like a member of society. The other one was very like a good kid, did all the things like a normal child would do, but as he grew up he decided to be more along the lines of the wolf, and like at one point she had to accept the fact that he wants to be what he wants to be and she wants to be what she wants to be. So it's like a happy sad, because like the son like does his thing, and it's like what do you do?
Right. Kids will be kids.
Kids will be kids. It is a fantastic movie. It's a very good feel good. I picked it up because it's just I love wolves. They're my favorite creatures, and I thought it would be just a fun movie.
That's fair. Wasn't there another movie about like a piano in a forest? Might have been called Piano in the Forest.
I think that's a. Anime.
Is that an anime?
I think it's just an anime.
Okay.
I think this is like
Forest of Piano.
Forest of
Forest of
Pianos. There you
Piano.
go.
I was close.
Close. Is it an anime or is it a movie? Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah,
Anime?
I think it's an anime.
Okay.
Netflix has it.
Silent Piano in the Forest.
Silent.
In the forest of your name.
In the forest with your name. There's another one that I wanted to watch, which I think was another Makoto Shinkai movie, which was about like this guy that was like obsessed with feet or something like that.
Are you sure we're not just talking about the dude who made
draw.
Pulp Fiction?
He what?
You made shoes?
Yeah, he made shoes. Yeah, he's not actually obsessed with feet. I'm grossly exaggerating, but it looks beautiful.
It's like one of those things where it's like describe this as horribly as you can and
oh yeah,
try and guess it.
I mean, it's me explaining Sweat Drop to anybody who wants to hear me talk about it. It's about a guy with a smell fetish, but that's not remotely what it's about.
The Garden of Words.
Garden of Words, yes. I want to see that movie. Again, I think that's Makoto Shinkai, and that's just beautiful. It looks beautiful.
I've never even heard of it, but if it has anything to do with sniffing feet, I'm all about it.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Get them dogs. I always think of the TikTok videos that go around now where it's like the guy, he's like video recording his face and he's like pretending like he's crying inside. He's like, guys, pray for my girl. Pray for her. She got attacked by five vicious dogs, and then like he pans the camera down to her and like he like shoves his foot in her mouth. And I'm like,
What sites are you on?
it's TikTok. I mean, TikTok really is like a hop, skip, and a jump away from Pornhub, honestly. You search those right tags.
So you're searching foot fetish then?
I'm not searching for foot fetish. Look, if my algorithm was like actually like indicative of like what I was actually on the internet looking for, I'd be like one horrible freak that deserves to be in prison.
Just the FBI or the FBI
Banging
agent
on my
that's-
door, like, why do you like all these fetishes? I'm like, I don't.
I'm sick of this. You're streaming together words like I didn't even know existed.
Like, I wish you could blame it on the fact that like I'd searched any of these things before, but it's like I don't like it just shows up. Like TikTok be wild. Like it used to be anime. It
be
used to be
wild.
anime stuff all the time, but as soon as I deleted it because I didn't want One Piece Red spoilers, like as soon as I came back, it was just like all this random shit. And I'm like, dude, you used to give me all these cool like manga, like here's some hot new mangas, here's some new manhwas to read, and now it's like foot stuff and random girls like talking about like check out this DIY hack. And
I love how that's the TikTok algorithm. It's just you left us and now you came back. Probably means you're depressed.
yeah,
Here's some porn.
here's some porn, but
Temporary happiness.
I don't know if there's any other anime movies I can really bring up.
I don't know, but I'm kind of impressed that we started off on Studio Ghibli and ended with porn.
We ended with foot fetish.
Fetish porn.
Right? Like that is a great road to travel
That was
down.
an adventure.
You know, Hayao Miyazaki, foot fetish.
Brian, remember that for the tag. Just we dive into movies and how Studio Ghibli leads us to foot fetish porn.
I'm gonna get railroaded in the comments. I
Railroaded,
smack-talk
ravaged,
Cowboy.
and
We barely talked about Akira.
yep.
We glossed over that. We just mentioned it was a thing. We railed on Hayao Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli, and I said that Cowboy Bebop wasn't as great as it should be. We are done.
Yeah, we've lost all credit.
Yeah, no, we lost our
We've all, yeah. Like, we are now the podcast that people send to their friends if they just want to, like, enrage them.
Yeah, it's do you hate, like, do you just want to be angry?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, instead of listening to death metal, watch Two Dicks Exposed.
Right. It's like, are you a casual weeboo? Like, you watch the fun stuff, but you have that one friend who always yells at you for not, like, truly investing in it.
Right.
Show them us.
Yeah, show them us. They will hate us.
They'll hate us. They'll have a newfound respect for you.
Yeah.
You're like, well, at least you're not those dicks.
Yeah, exactly. We make everyone else look good.
Exactly.
Make all the other new weebs look good.
Right. We're like the M. Night Shyamalan of podcasts. We're so bad, everyone else looks good.
That is true. That is such an apt description. Because, like, I mean, he gave us the one good thing, which was Signs. I like that movie.
Sixth Sense. Sixth
Oh,
Sense
he
was
did
good.
do Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
He did.
Um,
Which, honestly, though, now, like, that movie does not hold up now, though, because everyone knows the spoiler.
yeah.
Like, so, like, now if you watch that movie knowing that spoiler, it's just a movie. It's like, oh, it's the build up to that line.
And I think that's another downfall of Shyamalan too. Is his hook is he always has a big twist at the end.
And then once you know the twist,
The movie's spoiled. Plus,
Movie's
you go
spoiled.
into the movie knowing like whatever they're leading me up to right now,
yeah,
it's not going to be that.
yeah. The big twist in Avatar: The Last Airbender was that it was
That it didn't exist
that
at
it
all
didn't exist,
as a movie. Yeah,
and it was based off something way better.
I have never heard of like a children's movie causing so much violence.
I get the Earthbender rock thing in my TikToks a lot too.
Yeah.
I get that.
It's like, can you
sequence.
imagine putting all this effort in to move one rock, and it's like a 17-second dance routine between
always
8
that.
Earthbenders just to see one boulder just slowly move across the screen.
If you want to see like the worst animated movie, like animation that was turned into a movie,
Yeah, loosely based off of an anime movie.
yeah.
Watch Shyamalama Ding Dong's Avatar.
God, I can't even recommend that.
Oh my god, we need to do a live viewing of it.
Oh my god, do we have to?
Yes.
I've successfully never seen that movie once in my life.
I did because I was in the theaters, and I just remember it vividly. Like, I was so hyped for this because if you just watch the trailers, it looked amazing and pretty spot on.
I'll tell you what, if we get the following, if we get the fan base,
Okay.
I will watch that movie.
If this video gets 100 likes, we will watch Avatar. Or we will watch The Last Airbender.
Oh god. Put
You
it
hear that, guys? 100 likes.
100 likes.
100
At a
likes.
very small bar for
Yeah.
forcing me to watch the worst thing ever.
Oh my god. I'm excited. But no, I was in the theaters for it, and I was so excited I had actually shaved an arrow into my head
I remember
and dyed
that.
it blue.
Yes.
And then I got really sunburned and it went green. But that's a different story. So we watched the movie, and like the credits roll at the end, and the entire theater was just dead silent. Like no clapping, no murmuring, anything. It was just dead silent. And I stood up and I said, "What the fuck was that?" And I got literally an applause. Like they liked my comment at the end of the movie more than the movie in itself.
Yeah.
Like
The only, just like ORM movies, I'm gonna throw that out there. The only like movie reaction I ever got from like a crowd of people was when I said when I cheered at Dobby's death at the end of Deathly Hallows Part 1. I was like, good, as loud as I could, and like I could feel like all the hatred
just the laser
staring at
beams
me.
on the back of your head.
I'm like, he's the worst character in the entire series.
Master gave Dobby a coffin.
Again, yes. Master gave Dobby a coffin. Done. I want that. I want that as a tattoo. His crudely made cross thing that they put into his like shallow grave.
Oh yes.
Done.
Oh
man.
All right, that's a good place to wrap.
All right.
And with that, we're not talking about anime anymore.
We're just talking about movies at this point, so we're just gonna wrap it up because we're physically being told to wrap it up.
This is so bad. We're being told just stop it
Just
right
done. We're losing more fans.
End it. It's like our best friends are either already unsubscribing from us.
Yeah, straight up.
So,
all right.
Till next week, I am not Mike.
I am not Pat.
Go. Do your
Bye.
own thing.
Get
There's
out of
better
here.
things to do. It's a Thursday. Go to work.
Yeah. Better things?
Yeah. If you like that episode, you can follow us on all of our social media, Instagram, Spotify, Facebook, or TikTok at NotMikeNotPat.
If that's not your cup of tea, you can also follow us on Twitter at notmike_notpat. Or, if you want to, we'll be doing our live streams of animes and video games at our Twitch channel at notmike_notpat as well.
Thank you for watching.